I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I think I'm their number one fan, I swear.
That we wanted to be a discovery platform for snacks.
And we are trying to build virality within our product.
What's something different they're not getting everywhere else?
At first, it was very much like, we'll try anything.
As soon as our competitors started to advertise, under our Google search, then, I think that was the validation that, we're in the game here to stay.
This is the story of SnackMagic, where we take a deep dive into a snack box gifting service, speak to their team, brand advisors to learn about how they went from making $0 in April 2020 to 20 million annual run rate by December 2020. In this episode, we'll talk about the iteration phase and the small tweaks they made that yielded big results in the first few months after launch. Let's see what they did.
Literally my goal for people that are recipients is for them to become senders. So if you receive a SnackMagic, I want you to be so excited and think that this is the best experience ever, and you just want to give this to someone else. Treat it forward is what we call it.
The reason we built that whole customizable box and not like a fixed box which goes to everybody was that we wanted to be a discovery platform for snacks. People could come to our platform, SnackMagic, and they would see a whole variety of snacks and could even pick one of each snack, which was totally fine because we said we are going to be the discovery platform.
On the growth side, on the product-led growth, of course, we're doing a lot on the word of mouth side and Google ads and campaigns, but then we are trying to build virality within our product.
And it's really interesting from a branding perspective because, we typically think of brands as monuments, these perfect things that are chiseled out of stone after a lot of, consideration and thought, and it's really crafted carefully. But this is a different animal. This is, branding on speed.
So, people would, look for us on Google, whether it be Google or word of mouth, they'd find SnackMagic. Right when they get to the website, they have a really easy way to book a call with us. And then once they got on the call, I'd be there to provide them a nice, personalized approach. On the demo, I wouldn't show them, any more or less than they needed to know. It was really important just to give them exactly what they needed, with regards to what they were reaching out about. And it was really important just to be transparent, about our capabilities. Since we were growing so fast, we were constantly adding new things, and we wanted to promise them, everything in the world and just do the utmost we could for each customer. But I think being transparent and upfront kind of went a long way, and they respected us for that.
What's been so interesting about watching the stats on SnackMagic is we're seeing huge orders come through in a self-serve e-commerce model that some of them will be immediate on a click. Some of them might be after 30 days after that click. Because there is a consideration period, but it's this consideration with the self-serve model that is so interesting.
The idea of a $20,000 conversion on a single click, regardless of a sales cycle and all the processes that salespeople typically have to go through to land a deal of that size, it's unbelievable.
A lot of that is the need, and a lot of that is because the product is built with such a focus on simplicity.
Shanak told us always to approach SnackMagic with a fresh set of eyes. So now that we had a whole new market to attack with SnackMagic, it was now a global market. So we had a whole new idea of what we can do. It started with a lot of our orders coming from California, which kind of gave us that realization. And then we started to do things like attend virtual trade shows, at CVent, or doing Google AdWords, which broadened our ability to market to the world. And then another thing would probably be, as soon as our competitors started to advertise, under our Google search, that was probably a little later on, maybe in early June. Then I think that was the validation that we're in the game here to stay.
That game Minesweeper. It was kind of a lot like that experience. You're just like, here's an idea. Maybe this idea matters. Let's put some ads for that. And maybe it has nothing, or maybe it just opens up a whole new area of need. Like the virtual events opened up, people start coming in for events and they say, hey, can we get swag? We want to give our attendees stuff.
We would pick up on the trends that people were talking about. So we started to hear, as I said before, a lot about virtual events, a lot about customization, a lot about, corporate billing and things like that. So just repetition and sort of, we're a tight-knit group, so we'd Slack each other, and it was more like organized chaos. We would just do this in live time.
Something that was like a major player in this game was that it's food. And even though people lose like income or like security, food is something that they will always need, require. And that eclipsing with the fact that people do not want to go to retail areas that are crowded, I think those two like merged into creating a great solution.
You know, this whole market for virtual events is like completely new for us, right? Before we were dealing with office managers or HR people, people working in sales, and in the last couple of months, I feel like the virtual event space, right, like grew a lot. So that's something that we had to like learn a lot about in a short period of time, and realizing how our product was so adequate for their use case too.
At first, it was very much like, we'll try anything because we didn't really know what worked yet and what our customers wanted. But we still very much were in the mindset that, you know, we want them to be the ones to choose the menu.
You kind of have to you can't get lost, you know, in the forest looking at all the trees. You have to take a step back and be like, okay, like what is it that our customer base at large likes? What can we offer them? What's something different they're not getting everywhere else, you know? I think as we progressed, there was a lot of our, you know, personal taste, trialing the products and saying like, okay, like I might not like this, but I understand like where it fits in the space. Like there's a demand for it. People like it. Or even just following trends.
So I think like the first thing starts with variety, because there's different tastes for everyone. And then I think that we also look for within that, of course, products that like do taste good. And then of course with that, we have to kind of interject our own personal opinion. Food is love and comfort. And so I feel like in times of stress, people want to be able to try their favorite snacks or explore new products or find some sort of comfort through a treat. So, you know, I think I was really glad that we were able to be the outlet for a lot of our brand partners. You know, we have like our themed boxes. We also have seasonal boxes. So we have one for winter, and then, you know, once March rolls around, we'll have one for spring, summer, and fall. So we have those, and we also have our evergreen boxes where we always highlight things like minority-owned products, to Snack Good, Feel Good, which is where we put things that have a sustainable element, to Around the World is where we kind of highlight our global products, because we do have snacks from, you know, different countries as well. So yeah, we have a variety of different types of curated collections and curated stashes for people.
So it definitely started more outbound. You know, we were utilizing a few different like CPG platforms. The main one we used at first is called Range Me. It's essentially like, it's almost like an Amazon for brands. You can like search by the type of product or specific brand or all sorts of things like that. And then brands can also submit to us.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I think I'm their number one fan, I swear. I think we connected on Range Me, which is a platform, and I don't know if I'd submitted or she reached out to how it actually happened. I don't really recall the details, but one day I got this, I was like, awesome. And I looked into it, and it's been really great because it's happened organically. I think the partnership has happened at the right time for us. And so I reached out to my friend and I was like, hey, you know, is this working? Is this worth it? Right? Like just doing my research. And I'm like, they want some product to kick it off and test. And I was like, all right, that's kind of it's an investment, right? For me as a brand. And he's like, yeah, it's working great. He's like, you definitely should do it. And so we did. And it sold out in like a few weeks.
The time that we're in with the pandemic just created situations that nobody ever had to deal with before. So, you know, we want to continue to work and you know, throughout this growth period for both sides, where, you know, SnackMagic is bringing in, you know, new products, bigger orders than ever before. And when you see a company like SnackMagic growing at the rate that they're growing, obviously on our end, we need to be a little bit more flexible with accounting to make sure that we can support those needs.
Yeah, so our customers, you know, it was weird. They would get on the call and they would say, oh my God, this is like exactly what we were looking for. And so we kept hearing phrases like that. You know, it was really clicking. I think we were making organizers' lives a lot easier. So a lot of these people would, you know, have to facilitate a lot of this stuff on their own. And then on the recipient side of things, you know, we really made people happy. You know, people were excited to be able to pick their own snacks out. You know, it was kind of a nice little refresh in this work from home environment to be able to go in and pick out exactly what you want and have it delivered right to you. So I think it was a refresh on both sides of the spectrum there.
So there we have it. In this episode, we learned about the iteration phase, the small tweaks they made that yielded big results. In next week's episode, we'll talk about finding their product market fit and when they realized it was their time to shine. See you then.